So my name is Andrea, my last name is Horne. Transhistory is important, and I think also that that's why Black transhistory is important. Black trans women did so much. It's recorded in weird and sometimes very uncomplimentary ways, but these trans women in the past were important enough that people wrote about them, maybe even in the negative, but the work that I'm doing now is taking these stories of trans women, most of them are from the 1800s, and there are newspaper articles about them that are unflattering at best. I'm trying to write a book. It's been 2 years now, and I have had to. I got overwhelmed. Yeah, I got overwhelmed. I found more people than I expected, and I kind of didn't know where to go because I was combining 20th century and 19th century and 18th century, and I was like, oh my God, this is like an encyclopedia, and so I had to back off for a while and kind of figure out a new plan. To me, finding out about these people is, well, for me it's fun, but for the rest of us, or the rest of y'all, it's so incredibly important that we know our history. Because if we listen to the powers that be, transgender people just popped up in 2001, you know? And so our history in so many cultures was one of prominence, and we were revered in so many cultures until this westernized version of Christianity came. And so one story I've been working on recently, I'd like to talk about that. And her name is Mrs. Georgia Black. And Mrs. Georgia Black was a Black trans woman that a story was written about her in Ebony magazine in 1951. And she lived in a town, well, she had 2 husbands, and she lived in a town and nobody knew her tea. She lived stealth in this town, this small southern town in Florida for 40 years. She got a job as a houseboy, and he's the one who started, her boss where she was a houseboy is the one who started putting her inums. And started calling her Georgia, because her name was Georgie before. And then Georgie went to nursing school, and she married her first patient, and he left her money after 10 years of marriage. And they adopted a son, and she raised her son, and her son never knew her tea, and she was an older person, elderly, and the doctor, his name is Orville Barks, dished her tea, or he called it spill the beans. In the article about her, he said, I regret spilling the beans. But he ran out of town. But the interesting part of the story is, I mean, she's a Black trans woman born in 1890, but the interesting part is when her tea came out, the entire town circled the wagons to protect her and her legacy and her memory. It's just amazing. The love that she gave to the town, how they gave it back to her. And it just makes me want to cry because it's sort of like how life should be all the time. You know, why can't people be kind to each other all the time? Everyone respected Mrs. Black. And she was one of the town leaders and the auxiliary committee, and she raised her son, and she was a fabulous cook, and people loved her. And when her tea got out, the town became divided. None of them were against her, which is just miraculous. Half the town said, "Oh, we don't believe that," and the other half said, "If it's true, we don't care." And that's pretty remarkable for the 40s, in the 40s in America, in a small southern town. It's almost hard to believe. There's so many tales out there that we need to know, because the man that created Black History Month, it started as a week. The man his name is Carter G. Woodson, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, a people that don't know their history, you know, have kind of no place in the world. And that's been a sort of trope, and how we're all told that we're bad and demons and all those kinds of things that we have to overcome, just to live a normal life. And that's why knowing who our ancestors are is so important to the future. When you know that you came from fabulous people, it helps you move through the world in such a different way. I know so many Black women entertainers from the old school helped me move through the world with my back straight, standing proud and tall, and feeling fabulous, because I knew I came from fabulous people. No matter what they tried to tell me and sort of convolute my reality. You know, we need to lead with the fact that it is Black and brown trans women who put their lives on the line that made all this possible. And so, why did these Black and brown women, and when I say brown, I really mean Afro-Latino, why did they do that? Or how were they the only ones able to do that? And the reason is, they had nothing to lose. They couldn't get a job, so they couldn't lose their job. You know, they couldn't buy a house, because they couldn't get credit. You know, they lived their lives in and out of jail. I went to jail many times as a youth. So, I am trying to write a book about, and with a working title, How Black Trans Women Changed the World. And this is a call to someone out there. I do need some help with some organization and some tech stuff. So, you know, contact the Office of Trans Initiatives and they'll let me know. But I'm looking for someone to help me. So if y'all can get it together to come help Mama, I'd appreciate it, because we're still changing the world, you know?